Hello, everyone. We are doing this webinar as promised, and we want to just take you through. First of all, my name is Christy Borders, and this is Andrew Borders, and we are getting out of debt, and we've had a lot of people that have come to us and messaged us about how the heck we're doing it. And so we thought we would offer up a little webinar about what exactly we're doing. So, in hopes of inspiring you to do it too. And yeah, so I'm going to introduce us.
You bet. Like Christy said, I'm Andrew, and she is Christy. I work as a high school history teacher, and Christy runs a home business, health and fitness consultant for people. We've been married 9 years now, and we've got 3 kids. We have been working hard for the last many months, really, to lower our debt. And so hopefully we could share a few ideas with you of what we are doing to give encouragement to you. So
yeah,
is that a good intro?
Yeah. We just we created a presentation for you guys, so we'll share our screen now and kind of take you through it.
Oh, just blow it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We introduced ourselves, but let's just go down. We got into debt mostly because we bought a home. We started a couple of businesses and a little bit of excess living. In 2017, so in the last few months, we paid off $182,000 in debt, including $17,000 in credit card debt. So yeah, and we are taking control of our life and getting back on track by accomplishing our goals. So let's continue.
Yeah, for the longest time before we keep going, we wanted to get out of debt, right? We wanted to, you just figure someday you'll be able to get out of it, but that's all that it was in the beginning. We just talked about it and talked about it. And we're like, oh yeah, that's going to be great when it happens, but we didn't actually like sit down and come up with a plan. And that's the difference, I think, between like 6 months ago and now. Like we finally made a plan and we're sticking to it. The first principles that we wanted to share was something called the law of promotion. And it's basically, one of God's laws that he says, if you're faithful over little, then you'll be ruler over more. And, the mindset that we have to take is basically that nothing's ours, nothing's yours, it's God's, right? So, and we're simply stewards over it while we are here on earth. So that hopefully should help us be a little more mindful of what we do with our money, right? Like for us, we want to be successful because we want to use money to bless other people's lives. And so once we had, a vision for our finances and what we want that to look like, then we really, what's that line? A man without a vision will perish, right? So if we didn't have a vision, then we didn't know where we were going. And once we became like specific with that, then I think that's when it started to take off.
Yeah. And so those familiar with the parable of the talents, this is where the law of promotion really comes from. For those, I'll kind of give you a review. The story goes that there's a lord of the manor of sorts who gives 3 servants different amounts of talents. And talent during biblical times was a form of money in exchange. And he gave one guy 5 talents, another guy 3, and another guy 1. And they all had different attitudes about it. And he expected them to do something with it, and then there was an accounting at the end of it. And so the guy with the 5 talents went out, he doubled it. The guy with 3 talents went out and he doubled it. And then the guy with one talent decided to bury it and not do much. And the reason he did that was because of fear, essentially. Well, for the guy with the 5 and the 3, the Lord gave them more, right? As for the guy with the one talent, it was taken away. And so we kind of keep that in mind when we think about our current stewardship over the money that we have, that we need to go out and be productive. Go out and give what has been given us or entrusted us, and do good. And there's lots of different ways that you could apply this principle. But when it comes to money, we believe that you should go and use it wisely, and then do all that you can to grow it and do a lot of good with it. So,
yep.
Hope that makes sense. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So activity 1. This is something I did at a seminar that I attended of Danny Johnson's, and she is a mentor that we really like to follow because she kind of has what we want. And so, one, that's really something that everyone should have, like mentors to follow. A lot of people, kind of want to mentor us, right? But we get to choose our mentors. Do you want it to be someone that has what you want, or do you want it to be someone that's like, do you want it to be like Hollywood, right? Like television. We don't want that. We want, people that are, God-fearing and doing good. And that's what we see in her. So that's just a little aside. But for this activity, I did this activity at one of her seminars, and it was pretty eye-opening for me. Andrew wasn't with me that time, but she basically says, all right, I want you to take out a piece of paper. So that's what we want you guys to do. Take out a piece of paper and write down the last 5 years how much money you've made. So, I started jotting it down, and these aren't our numbers, but, it's just an example. So I start writing it down and, figure out what we came up with. And so, in 5 years, we made $285,000, okay? So that's a lot of money, right? When you think about it, that's a lot of money. And I mean, now our vision's expanded a lot more since the business that I've been doing. But then the next question that she says is, how much have you kept, right? And I'm like, that's just basically like your savings and investments, right? For us, that number was not as good as we want it to be. Not even close, right? I mean, most people will probably be like a couple $1,000s, right? Probably. I mean, maybe 10,000, if that, exactly. So that's crazy, right? You're like, okay, I made almost $300,000 and I kept 3,000 of it. Like, not very good.
It's like 1%.
Yeah. So that was pretty eye-opening for us. And then the third question, it was like, right? Like a little dagger to the heart. How much debt do you have? And yeah, when I answered that question, I was like, I texted Andrew. I'm like, do we really have $200,000 worth of debt? Because you have to take into account your mortgage. That's debt, right? Any car loan, any loan, right?
Car, student loans, credit
student
card.
loans, all of that stuff. So I was like, $200,000. We have like as much debt as we've earned in the last year. Last 5 years. That was a lot for us. And to be honest, we might even be on the lower end of some people. Like just because when I go to those seminars, I hear people that have a lot, which I'm not saying like we were in a great spot, but I'm just saying when you think about it that way, how much have you earned in the last 5 years? How much have you kept? And how much debt do you have? Like that probably should be eye-opening for you. And it was for me. I was like, oh man, like we need to get a little more serious about it. Obviously, we could be doing better things with our money if we've only kept 1% of it in the last 5 years. So do that. Take a couple minutes, pause this, do it yourself. Okay.
Yep. And the final question: do you have more debt today than when you started? In a lot of cases, you do. right? Because in the beginning, like for example, when we were first married, we didn't have a house. We didn't have. I paid a lot of. Well, we both paid a lot of our school with scholarships and in cash and the like. But as I increased my education, I needed to take out loans for that. And then once we she got a job, we bought a house, and so that's a major debt. And then just over the past few years of adding kids and trying to keep up with lifestyle and other things, uh, we spend money and we borrow money to do that. And then you add on the business aspect. So just know you shouldn't feel. Don't beat yourself up. I think that's one thing we want to emphasize. Don't beat yourself up. Everyone's circumstance is the same. But if you do feel a little bit of, we should not be in this situation, we can do better, that's good. Because you want a little fire in the belly to get this done. And that's essential.
And another reason probably why you have more debt today is that, I mean, creditors do that, right? The more money that you're making, the more that they'll allow you to get into debt. Like, really, like they're not our friends. They want us to get in trouble too. And then our egos on top of that is just sometimes a bad combo.
Yeah, right. Now how many credit card offers do you think we get every week?
Oh my gosh, like probably, I don't know, 4 or 5, like almost one a day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's very regular.
And we've moved a lot. If we were in the same house, I mean, it was probably like 5 a day, right?
Probably. Okay, so we've been conditioned, kind of just to add on what she or Christy is saying. Even though we make more, we spend more, right? And that shouldn't really happen. And so one thing that I found, so I'll let you in. I worked as a financial planner in a previous career before I went into teaching, and I would sit down with couples, and one of the things that I found very, very common is that when people their income increases, so do their expenses. And so this is very, very common. And so the goal you should have is don't grow into your income. Okay, and what I mean by that is find an amount to comfortably live on, and then as your income grows, and hopefully it is growing over the years, you don't want to increase your monthly expenses. Okay, and so something that would be very, very common is that students, especially those going into high income careers, right, like in the medical field of sorts, is they would during college live pretty frugally, on probably a few thousand a month, and then knowing that when they finish school, that their income is going to increase greatly. They, like I said, they grow into their income, and so now that they're bringing in a lot more money than they were during the college years, they feel like, oh, I got to go buy the biggest house I can and furnish it with so many nice things, and oh, we need to have a nice car, so forth and so on, and it just is debt and debt and debt. So don't do that. This example that I have down there in 2017, this is an example. We make $5,000 a month, and we live on $5,000 a month. Well, our goal is in the next 3 years is to be making $7,000 a month, but don't live on $7,000 a month, right? Live on that $5,000 a month, because then that gives you $2,000 a month to even do more. Okay.
Yep.
So this really begins with living a life of design, not a life of default. What we mean by that is take control of your life, have some personal responsibility, get it together, right? I love that Michael Jackson song, "The Man in the Mirror," right? Some days, that's right. Some days you just got to, you got to look in the mirror and you just got to say, look, what are we doing? What are we doing? Are we trying to keep up with people, or who are we doing this for? And we have found that it's really not worth keeping up with the Joneses, because
the Joneses are broke.
mm-hmm,
They have a lot of debt. We don't want that.
That's true. So it really doesn't matter how much money you make. It matters how much you keep.
Yeah.
Okay. So your goal is begin with the end in mind and try to do 3 things: live within your income, pay off your debt, and then grow your income and your savings. Okay. Oh, what happened? Oh.
Not Mac.
Honey.
Oh.
What'd I do?
Don't push that button.
Okay. Sorry.
Push this button.
Oh, heavens.
That's okay. Oh, you exited out of it completely.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
Whoops.
Well,
it's okay. We'll get back on track.
Restore. Oh, heavens. Rookie mistake.
No, but I will be in charge.
Yeah, please do. I apologize. Pleasant. Okay. Sorry, folks.
These fillers.
Let me just say a thing or two about attitude. It really does begin with an attitude. One of the things that she referenced is that she has gone to this business development coach named Danny Johnson, who's given a lot of really good ideas, and talks about 98% mentality and a 2% mentality. And the 98% is in reference to the group of people.
Hey, we're back.
We are
Sorry.
back.
Hold on. Yes.
The 98%
There we go.
references the people who are just kind of allowing life to control them, right? They're just victims of their circumstance, and their language, it reflects their language. And so if you look over here in the left column, the 98% mentality is, if only I had more money, if only I didn't have debt. It's not my fault. It's the economy. I can't grow my income. The economy just won't have it, or I can't, right? Whereas the 2% mentality, why don't you take this one? You got a 2%.
Okay. Haven't always. I'd be glad to. I will find a way. How can I solve this problem? What action can I take that will get me closer to my goal? And that's the difference, basically. There's just right there, you can tell there's a huge difference in their mentality, right? 2%ers, they simply get results, right? Like, they don't make excuses. They make plans. They are just serious, right? Like, they put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, and it's an attitude shift.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a very real thing. Okay, so a question you need to ask yourself is, do you really have a spending problem, or is it an income problem? One of the things we encourage you to do is enjoy life, right? Enjoy the moment. Life should be enjoyed, not just endured. Okay? There are people out there who just say, okay, if you're going to do this, it's going to take you 7 years to pay everything off, and you're going to have to live on beans and rice for the next 7 years. And I don't think you have to do that. I think that,
and with what I do, I don't think that's a good thing to do either. You still need to be eating.
absolutely, absolutely. So you really need to evaluate, okay, is it a spending problem? Are we just spending too much on stuff?
And I will say that everyone really at some level or another has a spending problem, whether you think of it or not, right? And we'll go into a little bit more details later about that excess spending that we have that we kind of sometimes don't think about. But
Or you're absolutely right. Or do you have an income problem, right? Are you able to meet your most basic needs without going into debt? Basic wants, the excessive wants, right? Everyone has a different level of income. But what I'm trying to encourage you to do, what we're trying to encourage you to do, is set some goals. Set some goals for yourself. We have seen people become very complacent with where their life is, right? We believe in social mobility, in income mobility. And what I mean by that is that if you're kind of if you're not making a lot of money and you're just frustrated about it, do something about it. There are so many opportunities to increase your income, right? Through training or through getting a new degree, and sometimes this takes some risk, right?
Or starting a business. That's what I decided to do.
Starting a business, and it requires some reflection on, well, where do I want to be, right? If you're in your 20s, if you're in your 30s or 40s, or really whenever you're looking at this, you need to sit down and go, 5 years from now, where do I want to be? Because I've known some people who have been on the bottom part of the economic ladder, right? And have done radical career changes, right? Of where they went back to school and they had to put a little investment in it, and some of that was student loans, but it's a trade-off that they're no longer going to be making 40, 50,000 a year anymore. After putting in the time, they're going to start making more than six figures, and that's going to change things a little bit for them. And so that is kind of what I mean is evaluate, do you have a spending problem or an income problem? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And for us, I think, we didn't really have an income problem per se. We just knew that our current level of income wasn't going to help us
reach our goals.
Yeah.
Right.
Andrew's a teacher, right? Not very many teachers can with the family can get out of debt, right? Or can it's possible. But
sure.
But with the life that we wanted to have during that, we were just okay, well, we need to figure out another way to increase our income. So yeah, and especially if we wanted to, bless other people's lives, go on mission trips, all of that stuff. We need to do something else.
All right. So, as part of taking control, you have to be accountable. Okay. So be responsible for your financial life. Okay. Put up messages around the house, on the bathroom mirror, at your office. Have a weekly budget meeting. This was something we started instituting about 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. Ours is Sunday every night. It's my job to kind of keep a tally of what our spending has been, and we meet and we talk about it. Wait 30 days to decide on purchases.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your experience with impulse buying. What was the business you were in?
All right, this is a good one. So I used to work for Frito-Lay, right? And we, as the marketing plan went, we always wanted to have chips on the perimeter in certain locations with those chips that went with things, right? So you wanted to have the tortilla chips next to the salsa ingredients in the produce, and you wanted to have Ruffles next to the hamburgers, right? Because like a man's chip, right?
They're delicious.
And, you know, we wanted to have them in, you know, like the bags of chips in the dairy, right? When like put with your kids' lunches. And especially, we really wanted to have them by the check stands, right? Because once you're done with your shopping trip, you're like super, you know, you're tired, you're hungry. If you have kids, they're like done, and you're like, you know, if you can just up that basket ring, you know, by a dollar, you know, and then like you're hitting our goals and like the grocery store's goals, right? So yeah, so we were always trying to get chips up front by like to get those impulse buys from you. And really, like, honestly, you have to think of it like that's like you're burning through cash, right? Because those impulse buys aren't going to get you closer to your goals, right? Going out to lunch instead of packing a lunch, going out to lunch is burning that cash that we're talking about. That's not going to get you closer to your goals. Yes, it's easier to go and do that, but I mean, you know, we just have to be. You have to be more responsible, right? When you go grocery shopping, if you throw stuff away, cash in the trash. That's what Danny calls it. Cash in the trash, right? We don't want to do that either. We don't want to throw away our cash, but that's what it is, right? If you plan out your meals and then you stick to them, then one, you won't be throwing things away, and you'll be saving money, right? Like that's what we want to do. And so maybe hopefully that's a good like mental thing that you can tell yourself, right? You're going to throw something away, like, oh, I need to eat this, right? Cash in the trash. So, anyway.
Right on. And no disrespect to these companies. I mean, they're billion-dollar companies for a reason. They understand that we're human, and we go a lot on impulse, right? And so we're not perfect at it all. There will be days where I'll just be in the grocery line. I'll be like, you know what? It's been a long day. I deserve this Snickers bar or this Twix bar.
That's what happens when he goes to the store.
That's right. I go to the store often. Okay.
He's awesome.
So wait 30 days. I think, did we cover that one? Just avoid the impulse buying. This is just the idea of just sleep on it. Because you see that sweet television set, you're like, you got to have that.
Which, that is a 98% mentality, right? A lot of times we trick ourselves into thinking that luxuries are actual needs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not. Like even, right?
Right.
If you think about it.
Right. So sleep on it, right? Even if it's 48 hours, but the 30 day, if you feel as strongly as you did 30 days ago about it, then you get it, right?
But you probably
won't. Okay. Quit using your credit card. Use the cash or debit card only. Okay. It makes no sense to continue using the credit card while you're trying to pay the credit card off.
Right. Yeah.
Text each other before you make a purchase, and be honest with one another. Right. I've met with couples who have their own like bank accounts and their own. Oh, this is my secret stash. You know, my personal feeling is that if you're going to be one and unified in life, right, through marriage, it requires you also with your finances to be one. So I'm an encourager of, look, I wanted to buy this. What do you think? And typically the other one of the spouse that is not there typically can be a little more level-headed because they're not sucked in by the impulse.
Yeah.
Okay. So keep going. You can't manage your money if you don't measure it. We started having a weekly budget plan on Sunday nights. That's what we talked about. And here's what we did. We printed off expenses and wrote down the previous 3 months. Okay. So if we're in April, so go back to March, June, January. Or I'm sorry, March, February, January.
January, February.
Okay. And during that time, and this will take a little bit of time, but it's worth it. Totally worth it. We identified our fat, which is which is another word for excess spending.
Yep.
And we had to prioritize. Okay, 10% to God, 10% to ourselves. That's in retirement and an emergency fund, and we strive to, and then the rest goes to bills. Okay, and I would just encourage those other two things, the tithing and the retirement and the emergency fund, treat them like bills, right? Every place should have a dollar amount, okay? And so when you're going over your priorities, or in other words, your budget, just put everything automatically, okay? Take the decision-making out. There have been many, many studies that have shown that when you take decision-making out of the process, you get way better results. Okay?
And then, try living on 70 to 75%.
Right. Okay, most common areas of fat. Okay, this kind of comes from experience in a previous career, as well as just our experience.
Yeah.
Food, typically groceries, and eating out are typically the major things. And what we've found, especially with younger couples who are making a pretty good amount of income, it's so easy to just go, got to get the coffee every morning. And you know what? It's a lot easier to just go and eat out with everybody. But just think about that. Imagine you spend just even $5 a day. Okay. You times that by 5. Okay. Every 25 times 4, right? So $100, $100 just going out on fast food, and you can't get that back, right?
No, it's not getting you closer to your goals,
Right?
especially if you have health goals too.
Okay. The TV movies. This is just you have Dish, you have cable, right? There are probably we haven't had cable TV in I don't think in our entire marriage. No, yeah, we had. There was that one time, but it became part of the deal or whatever.
Oh yeah, with the internet.
But it's mostly we've been on an antenna, but my experience has been you watch maybe 4 or 5 channels, and there's a lot of stuff on. I mean, get a subscription to Hulu or Netflix. Not to encourage your spending, but there are lower cost ways to entertain yourself.
Right.
Okay.
Unused gym memberships, right? Like there's a statistic that 67% of people with gym memberships don't use them. I personally, we don't have one. And we work out downstairs in our house. It's just been a lot cheaper for us. And I follow a program, so it gets great results.
Yeah, we get great results.
That's right.
I'll show you my arms sometime. We don't have pets, but we do have children,
but we know a lot of people with pets, and I know that they do cost a lot.
Right. Cars and clothing, as well as coffee and drink.
Cars, luxury cars, right? We don't need it. So, okay, with grocery budget in particular, basically, there's a couple of things, right? So one thing that we've done just with, cutting down that bill is basically like shopping in your pantry first, right? You need to
just take an inventory.
Yeah, figure out like what you have first of all, and then another goal is just going to the grocery store 1 time a week. We actually try to just go once every other week because our grocery store is like 45 minutes away from where we live. So we try to do that every other week. But to do that, you have to plan, right? You plan for everything, for every meal. You grocery shop, and if you run out of something, or if you don't have one ingredient, you have to sub, right? Just really try and avoid the impulse to go to the store more, because when you do that, you're always gonna end up buying.
And we do this meal planning the same time as our budget meeting.
I'm in charge of that, and then he's in charge of like.
Right. So it's all Sunday night. We do this together. So So keep going about the cupboards and pantry.
Yeah. So this was like this. We did this activity also at the seminar, and it was pretty eye-opening. Again, like that other activity, Basically, she says, let's just talk about options for breakfast and how many that we actually have. So we go through it. She says, okay, let's go to our cupboards. How many options of breakfast do you have? Okay, in our cupboards, we've got oatmeal. Well, we probably have steel cutouts. And we might even have like those packets of instant oatmeal, right? Which have a lot more sugar in them, by the way. But really, probably a lot of us probably have all three. From there, you have cereal, and not just one kind of cereal. You have to have like 5 or 6 different kinds of cereal, right? We got the Raisin Bran, Electrons, all that stuff. And then you think of, that's probably all the ones that are in the pantry. Well, Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts in the pantry. Sometimes just like canned fruit, which is also not the healthiest. But we have it too. So all of those, just right there, you have probably like 10 options, right? Just in your cupboards pantry alone. Okay. Oh, I didn't even talk about bagels, right? We have bagels. We have
Toast,
English
eggs.
muffins. We have
Pancakes.
yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay.
I am in charge.
You're doing great.
Pancakes, yes, pancake mix, toast, all those things, right? Let's go to the fridge. Okay, so right now we're at like 15. Fridge, we've got eggs.
Mm-hmm.
We've got fruit. We've got a lot of different fruit. We've got yogurt. We've got Greek yogurt. We've got squeezable yogurt.
It's called Go-Gurt.
Yeah, yogurt. There you go. Cottage cheese, ham, sausage links, right? And then in the freezer,
okay,
that's not what we have. I mean, we have a couple of these.
We
But
used to.
a lot of people, right? Yeah, before doing this, we had a lot more options, and before we cared about eating as healthy as we do.
Right.
And then you go to the freezer. You got toaster strudels. You've got stuff for smoothies. You got your protein, drink shakes, whatever. We have Shakeology in there, which we love. Anyway, and we that's like it basically. Yeah.
But there's a lot. That's a lot of items.
So yeah, honestly, probably over 30 options, right? If you're like most American. So she said, like, really, we need to whittle it down, right? To have 3 or 4 options.
Yeah. One
type of cereal. Oatmeal is cheap and good for you. Eggs. That's
3.
The top 3 that we have.
Yeah.
And I don't think we have very much more. So that right there, you do that activity for your own home, for your own life, you will definitely save money.
You will.
It works for us.
You will.
And you can do that with any meal. Do that with your lunches.
Do it with lunch.
Do it with your dinners. Do it with your snacks. Honestly, like, food doesn't need to be like this really amazing experience, right? Like a lot of people do like tie emotions to it, right? That's just part of just being human. But really, like, we really should just use it to fuel us, right? And and like Andrew said before, the least amount of decisions you have to make in a day, the better, like, the lower the stress that you'll have. So, like, we have a lot of repetition, and it's simple, but it works.
All right. So when you're looking for the fat, and again, fat is excess spending in your budget or in your income. Here's what we found. Personally, groceries, eating out. We had a rental house where we weren't slumlords. We wanted to. We had a rental house that was like far away, and so this could be a little bit different if you're closer. But we decided to spend a little more money per month to keep good renters in the house rather than becoming slumlords. And then our cell phone bill. And so we found that we had about $500 a month. That's about the average of what you'll find with people. And some people, if you've never done this exercise, you might just be like, no, I don't spend that. Oh, you spend that much.
We were like that in the beginning. We're like, oh, well, we might find like $50 or 100, but yeah, at the end of it, when you actually like, okay, these are luxuries. Okay, these are, wants, then it really probably will end up being about $100. So then you take that fat, and what do you do with it? You apply it to your dad.
Right. So weigh your ego with your bank account. Okay. And this is just another term for eat some humble pie. Come to grips with your fat, right? And that's a real good image there. Lowered expenses by downsizing. Okay. That was kind of the trick of what we decided to do. Last summer we got in a car accident. We received a little more money than what our car was worth, and it was in the high thousands. But instead of replacing that with a newer car or a newer used car, we decided to buy a $1,000 van, which we got from a friend of ours.
Which was hard because I never wanted to be a van mom. Never, right?
She's too hot for that. I'm sorry.
No, I just something I never want to do. And a lot of people like, right? If you get like, I mean, what we get, like seven. I think we got like 7,000.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Around there. So yeah, a lot of people would take that money and they would be like, oh, awesome, we can use that to put a down payment on the next car that we get, right?
Yeah.
But no, we decided, no, that's not going to get us close to our goal of getting out of debt.
Right. So. And again, we have goals, and so it's not, we're not living just kind of in the moment or for the next year or two. We're not just trying to get by, looking good. We have real goals, and we're not going to be in this van forever. And that was kind of our decision.
That's the thing. Like we've been praying about it, right? Like it's weighed on our heart. And, and then we get this opportunity to buy a $1,000 van and we're like, okay, God, we get it, right? Like we'd be stupid not to buy this van just because of our egos. So we decided to follow that, which is wise counsel.
Right. So Christy also started a home business. This was also part of our goal. Her income has increased gradually over the years, and so that has been a big help.
Yep.
Additionally, we do a lot of activities with one another instead of having expensive date nights or family activities.
Yeah. So you can even we definitely believe in date nights. We really think you should have one once a week. But there's a lot of really cheap ways to do that. You can have in-home dates, have the kids can be watching a movie and popcorn downstairs, and you and your husband are upstairs, right? Making sure they're all not ruin your house. But just things like that. Or trading babysitters. We've done that before.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take another couple's kids one night and then they'll take ours. Is another way to spend money or save money on your activities on your dates.
Another big thing is, and we went back and forth on this a lot. We sold our rental home, and you might not have a rental home, but you should probably do this with any big expenditure that you have. A lot of people view their home as an asset on their ledger, and it can be, but you got to view it more as a liability. I don't know if you've read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, but that's a major thing that he points out is your home is a liability. As long as you're paying money for it, or as long as there's a cost going out, you're really not any wealthier for that, right? It's kind of like that car payment that you have. You've got a car worth so many thousands of dollars, but every month it's paying. You're paying out on it, and so that took us a while to kind of change our mindset of that it was wasn't really an asset for us.
Yeah, we ended up. We were probably spending $3,000 a year on maintaining it, right?
And again, that's because we weren't slumlording it. But
at this point where we're at in our life, we thought it's more important for us to get out of debt than to continue on that trajectory of paying out more, which eventually it's going to pay off, right?
Right, because it would have, just the way that things go. But no, we found that to be a major blessing. And
eventually we plan to get back into real estate, because I think some great money that's to be had there. If you do it right, it's just not the right time for us.
Right. And so we used a big chunk of that money to pay down debt, and so we were fortunate to have that. And so hopefully as you see, this has been a combination of many decisions, but that's how we're getting results.
Yeah, and as a couple, you have to be on the same page. You have to, like, it's non-negotiable. You can't just say like, all right, honey, figure it out. It doesn't work that way. Like, you both have to, like, be on the same page. You both have to be open. You both have to, be sending those texts when you're spending, especially, like, if you're a stay-at-home mom, right? Like, and you don't work personally, but your husband does. Like, you need to be just as responsible over that money, like, as your husband is, right? Like, a lot of the times, we justify spending here or there, and that's not right. You need to have that vision and work towards it.
Right.
For your marriage too.
Right. And then the tax return. I know a lot of people who view the tax return as, all right, we're going to use this, and we're going to use it for our vacation, or we're going to build or buy, kind of reward ourselves with this, and they look forward to it every year.
Or toys for your kids, or all those things. Who is it all for again, right? Like, when we think about it, Andrew was saying, the Joneses are broke, right? We don't need to keep up with the Joneses. And a lot of times when we do get those, like, fancier things, it's for our own ego. But again, what does it say up here? Weigh your ego with your bank account and see which one weighs more, right? We want our bank account.
So
we could have easily spent it on other things, but chose to spend it.
Right on. Okay, so one of the major things that we deal with now, it's now over $1.3 trillion in the United States, is student loan debt. And so this is probably one of the major ones. It would be a good idea to see if you can lower your monthly spending on that. A lot of people just don't know what their options are. You get out of college and they put you on the regular standard repayment plan, which is, I think, over a 10-year period. And if you don't know how debt works, is that you can extend that repayment a little bit longer if need be. I believe up to 30 years. And so if you're coming out of college, or you've been in college or out of college for a while, and you're not making as much as you thought you could or should be, you might get onto this website, talk to your student loan provider. And I've talked to some people who didn't know that they could lower their payment because of their income level. And so the government, with all its issues, is a pretty good lender, in that they're willing to work with you on that type of thing. So just check that out. Okay, so how you pay off your debt, whether you call it a debt snowball, debt roll-up, debt ladder, debt avalanche, they're really all the same. Okay, there's two approaches to doing this. One, you either start with the highest interest rate first, and that's mathematically faster, or you start with the lowest. I put that wrong. The lowest balance. I'm sorry. That's not interest rate first. Lowest balance
first.
My bad.
Because then you'll pay off like one thing right away, and then that'll be super exciting.
Yeah, and you're, let's go. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we just kind of wrote out the process, and I'm sure many of you have seen this, and that's okay. We're just, I guess, adding on to the many testimonies of other people that this process works. So go ahead if you need to kind of pause and follow what we've done here. But all you need is just the debt, the balance, interest rate, and the minimum payment. Okay, and just line them all up. There's a couple of good tools for this, and I'm going to try to show you. Go ahead. One of these is called the vertex42.com. How do I change the? Well, I'd like to show it. I guess you don't have to. No, don't worry about it. Yeah, you can. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I've already put it on here. It's this one, Excel. And this guy who runs this website does everything Excel spreadsheet. And so if you like to download an Excel spreadsheet rather than getting like an app or something, this is actually what I feel more comfortable doing it with. And you just use this one, but it's just your basic debt calculator, payoff system, and yeah. So here we go, debt reduction calculator. You can download it, save it on your desktop, and it works really well. Okay.
We used Danny Johnson. She has a system called War on Debt that we're using. I prefer that. I think it's the easiest way to follow, and I've just heard watched a lot of other people that are using her system that are doing really well. So I really like that one. So if you want more information about War on Debt, you can ask me about that.
Totally. And then there's yeah, we can just get off this. But then there are just some others like this Undebted. It's a online calculator. So, and if you want to educate yourself, go to the blog Ready for Zero, which is an excellent resource. Okay. A couple of options to just lower your interest rate, and we're just when you get going in this process, you want to lower your payments because you want to use the fat on top of the payment, right? And so at least in the beginning, maybe a couple of good ways to get rid of to lower your monthly payment is you could do debt consolidation, okay? And all they're doing is they're going to take all your debts and they're going to just put it all in one, and then they're just going to lengthen the loan, right? And what that will do is that will lower your payment. Another one is kind of a newer way. It's called crowdfunding, okay? Think of it as a GoFundMe account of how people pool their money together. But instead of them giving you money to like start a business or do a fundraiser or something, these lenders are pooling their money to lower your interest rate. So, for example, let's say that you have $20,000 of credit card debt, and you've got like an 18% interest rate, right? Really high. What you could do is you could go with one of these companies, Lending Club or SoFi, and they will lend you $20,000, right? And you take that to pay off your credit card bill, but then they become your new lender. But instead of paying an 18%, you're now paying like a 6% interest rate. So, a couple ideas. Okay.
Okay, so a couple ways to cut your expenses and save money. Clean up your inbox. I am notorious for this. I sign up for everything. Unsubscribe to those email lists. They aren't getting you closer to your goals, right? So in the beginning, like I sign up for things because I want a cheaper deal on something, but at the end of the day, I don't need those things, right? I don't. So that's just another way, because then now I see like, oh, there's a deal on this. Oh, there's a deal on this. But every time you're saving money, you're spending money. So pay cash for everything, right? If you don't have the cash, don't buy it. That is just like a habit that you need to really focus on developing. Eat what's in your pantry, right? Some people, that's what Danny, she encouraged everyone to do that. Some people, but they're like, oh yeah, we've like went a whole year without really going to the grocery store. Some of us have a lot of food, right? And things could go bad. So even if you have a lot of things in your pantry, some food storage is good, but you also, one, probably need to know how to use it, but two, Um, you need to use it before it goes bad.
And you can practically Google anything, any recipe, and get a decent meal.
Yeah. Avoid sales. You do not save money when you spend it, right? I already said that. Yeah, because avoiding sales, whenever there's a sale, I mean, I'm definitely guilty of it. If there's a cute shirt that you love, like, you're gonna get it like one in every color, right? Because it's a sale, it's only a couple dollars. At the end of the day, you end up spending like more than you should. Wait 30 days before you buy something. Don't impulse buy. Yeah, we
talked about that. Okay, so I guess the second part of what we would encourage everyone to do is it goes back to is it a spending problem or is it an income problem, right? For some of you, it's going to be an income problem, okay? And you need to have the discussion with each other of going, look, are we in a type of career? Are we on the path of just kind of living paycheck to paycheck for the rest of our lives, right? And some people do it to themselves, right? Where they're in the type of job where there's not a lot of income mobility. And so what I like to compare it to is an orange, right? There's only so much juice in that orange, right? There's only so much income in that orange. So,
and we were like that for a while. Like when I was working at Frito-Lay, we honestly thought that, like, okay, well, I guess we're just gonna have daycare babies, like I guess I'll just climb the corporate ladder, and Andrew, you can get a job, and my kids will be daycare. But once we were in it, for like that first year, we were like, no, like we aren't stuck. Like we felt stuck, but we knew like we wanted to design our own life, right? Like we said before, life by design, not default. So that's when we kind of started to open our vision up a little more and say, okay, well, we can take control. We can pretty much decide what we want our life to look like and then work towards that. And that's what we decided to do. That's when I decided to, walk away from the corporate world and stay at home. And then I eventually heard about this business opportunity that I jumped on, which has been a huge blessing for us. But it all started with that mindset of, okay, we don't have to stay stuck. We can design our life. We can have a vision and really work towards it.
Right. So I'm just going to suggest a couple of ways. I'm going to kind of fly through these because you can go through them on your own. But just kind of think of it as there's immediate solutions, short-term solutions, and then long-term solutions. Okay. So the immediate and short-term, get a part-time job, right? Start selling pizzas, start selling your clothes on eBay, whatever to up that. Or on Vinted. And a lot of these I'd never heard of until I started doing a little research on it. So, or you can just start having a garage sale, start selling your stuff. Okay. But then the long term is the approach where you have to sit down and go, oh my goodness, what do we want to be? What do we want to do? What's it going to take? And if you need a little advice on this, go talk to someone. Go find a mentor. Go find someone who, probably the best approach is, go find someone whose lifestyle you like. Go talk to them and say, what do I have to do to become like you?
Yeah. And you could really use that for anything. Like if there's a couple that you think has a rockin' marriage, and you want that, and go talk to them. Like, okay, how did you get your marriage where it's at? Or if you like the way that they parent, you love the outcome of their kids, go talk to them about parenting. If they're debt free, talk to them about how they got there, right? You can use that in anything. If they, if they're healthy, go talk to them about how they got where they're at.
Yep. Okay, so if you want to cut, let's say that you run a business and you want to cut some expenses, there are cheaper ways of doing this. And so I'm just going to we'll just stay on this for a little bit. But I know that, for example, I know in my last career, I had to pay rent and I had to pay other things, and those things can be really expensive. And so there are certain places that will rent underused office equipment, or we'll kind of do a package deal where you can, like under WeWork, you can use all their stuff for kind of a low amount. And so I know this isn't for everybody, but like I said, we're just kind of giving some ideas. Okay, the next one, short-term ways to make money, sell your things. They have all these online secondhand stores, right? eBay is always, that's been around forever. Rent a runway. This is a business that is a secondhand store for wedding dresses and prom dresses. How many times have you worn your wedding dress, honey?
One time.
One time. And it just sits in our closet.
Yeah.
And we need to sell it. So you can rent your tools out to people. That's pretty cool. Become a dog walker or sitter. TaskRabbit. So if somebody needs you to build a bookshelf or something, they'll pay you $50 to do it. You just get onto that. And maybe some of you already know about these websites, but again, I'm throwing them out there.
I haven't heard of all of them.
Yeah. Again, drive for Uber and Lyft. Piggy Bee. You don't want to drive for Uber, but you can still deliver people's possessions when you're going somewhere. I mean, check some of these out. Turo. I thought this was interesting. You can rent your car out to someone, right? And this stuff is becoming more and more popular as we become more of this shared economy.
Skillshare is pretty cool.
Right. Skillshare. Teach what you know online to students about what they want to learn. For some of these guys who are like these full-time teachers, or they do it a lot, can make like 30 or 40,000 a year. And these are pretty like technical skills, like things that you can come away with. Okay, long-term ways to make money. Again, this is a deeper conversation. Determine what your goals are in life, and we've had these discussions many times in our marriage. Are we on the right path? We want to do what we want to do, and so do you need more schooling? Do you need to invest in training? Right, develop a new skill. Consider a career change. Do you need to start a home business? That is becoming more and more popular. I think in recent years.
Donald Trump, right? We all know who he is, right?
That's right.
I remember listening to I don't even remember what it was, some interview, and someone said like, okay, so how, like, obviously you're successful, but how do you suggest someone go and make money? And that's what he said. He's like, network marketing.
It's true.
That's what he said.
It's true. So I think that is it.
That is it. But bottom line is, like, really, like, invest in yourself.
Yep.
Like, that is, that's an investment, right? That's not spent. That's not like an expense. If you're investing in like getting more training, getting more skills, then yeah. So that's our webinar.
There it is.
Hopefully that was helpful. That you were walking away, hopefully feeling empowered and inspired to go and do this for you and your life, for your marriage, for your families. Really, like, write that vision, right? I think that's the first thing. What do you want? What do you want your, and not just finances. It could be, it's with everything. What do you want for your, financial vision for your life? What do you want? A marriage vision,
Mm-hmm.
A vision for how you are with your kids, a vision for your relationship with God, like a vision for everything. And obviously it's a debt. We talked about that. So finances are important to us. But so start with that vision, and then you need to go and print off those bank statements, find the fat that's in your budget, really like streamline those luxuries, and be honest with yourself, and then from there apply the fat to your debt, and that's how you're going to get it. That's how you're going to get done. And we really believe that what that law of promotion, right? You're faithful to little, you'll be ruler over much more. So we think that the universe, God, you know, if you're praying for it, like it all works together. There's no coincidence that we got that $1,000 van. It's not a coincidence that we were able to like sell our home and get some equity in it, you know, when we weren't even planning to sell it, right? We know that God's on our side because we have a vision for our money to bless the lives of his children. And we really do believe in that. So.
And I'd like to finish with a quote. This comes from, I told him I'd give him credit. My man Mark.
He's a great guy.
I don't know if he got it from a book or something called The Alchemist, but it doesn't matter. It says, and when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. So we've felt that when we've taken this seriously, and we know it will work for you because these are true principles, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's our webinar. We hope you really enjoyed it. Give us some feedback. If you walk away and you're like ready to rock it, and you're like, all right, I found my fat, like let us know that this is helping you, because we will be doing more of it. We're going to be doing classes like in person that we're super excited about, because we're really passionate. We know what it's doing for our lives, and we want the same for our friends and other people. We want the freedom for everyone. So gotta share the love. Anyway,
all right,
we're signing off. Have a great night.